This is the BABA 1 year overview reading for the year of 2024. It's currently February 4th, 2024, 7:24 p.m. Eastern Time. BABA at the time of this reading, $71.85, that's USD. And the shuffle vial that we're about to play for you was created on February 2nd, 2024 at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video here in the lower left corner. So the overall theme and behavior for BABA in 2024 is going to be an overbought peak that we sell off from pretty notably through multiple support levels. It's crossed, however, with a rally on a 1 year chart scale that increases with momentum moving forward in time. Behavior around the highest high, we have an important price level on a multi-year scale at the high, and it looks like we established support at least temporarily around that price level. And behavior around the lowest low for the year, we attempt to establish support with sideways rotation. Now, I'm going to get into the week-by-week chart behavior as well as timing the highs, the lows, and the highest highs and the lowest lows. All of that in just a moment. Before we do that, though, I want to make sure that everybody's aware. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following the rule of karma for the channel. You go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, and 5% of the profits from every profitable trade utilizing this information should be donated forward to one of these charities, or pick a charity of your choosing as long as you're paying 5% forward, and then 5% should be sent back to the channel through one of these links. If you're international, you can use Wise or you can use YouTube Tips. And that leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Blessings to all my angel investors. Let's get back into it. It's important to remember that the cards going left to right across the screen represent about 2 weeks of time, but not each card's energy necessarily will line up with 2 weeks of time. So there may be, in some readings, there may be cases where you need to give the timing plus or minus 2 weeks of wiggle room at some point in the reading. It's possible. It's not all the time, but and that's because the energy just it doesn't always line up perfectly. But if you follow the sequence of events as outlined by the prediction, you stay on track even in cases where that does take place. So we have an important opportunity, or an important trade opportunity in early part of January. Since we've done January already, let's take a look and see how we're doing in this reading thus far. Yeah, so we have kind of like a mixed bottom into the low, right? So we have this decline, incline, decline in a channel into the low for the month of January towards the end of the month. And then we have this big move out of it, you can see, right? So there was an opportunity right there at the start. We did a decline, incline, decline into the low. Big move higher, pushing the upper end of a range higher, and we'll probably continue higher here. Also, the decline off of the January high was a decline to and through support, to be another support, and then rotate sideways along that. So this is looking pretty solid thus far. And with that said, we should see probably higher price levels here in February at some point. All right, so there's a decline off of the peak there around the cusp of January, February. There's a decline off of a prominent peak on a 1 year chart scale. That decline offers trade opportunity. I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. And then the low of February forms when we have a decline through multiple support levels into the low. The early part of February looks like there's a crest that we sell off from down to and through support on a 1 year chart scale. We do a U-shaped reversal below that support, come back and reuse it as support. And it looks like there's a bit of sideways rotation in the, like maybe the second week or third week of January possibly. The later part, second week or third week of February possibly. And it looks like the high for January and February are probably either we see the high twice or it's the same high right on the cusp. The later part of February, we have a near overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple support levels. This is also a cross-reading congruency, and it also has an orange correlation to the theme card. A cross-reading congruency on a multi-day scale. I'll talk about how what that tells us about where we fit in 2024 into the greater scheme of things in the paid version. In March, we have a notable move to the upside in early March with a breakout on a multi-day scale, and then the March high, we have multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. There's a prominent peak in the later part of March where we have sideways rotation along key support, and then maybe just in the last week we have a decline, but that decline takes us into a trough right on the cusp of March, April, where we have this big move to the upside standing out. The March low will decline through a key support level on a 1 year chart scale to revisit an important support level on a 1 year chart scale that we recently met. An improbable opportunity in April. The full card in a lot of cases, it'll indicate a lowest low or highest high, but not all the time. It's not like most of the time even, but often it does that. What it does always do is indicate an improbable opportunity that, kind of like out of nowhere, a lot of price change usually. And when it's combined with the universal, my sense is that there's a pretty good trade opportunity there on like at least a 1 year chart scale. And I'm going to get into that in more detail in the paid version. There's a prominent trough early in the month of April, a prominent peak in the later part of April. The April high forms when we have a fast sudden move higher into it on a 1 year chart scale. Behavior around the April low, a period of volatility that ends with a fast sudden move higher. And the later part of April, we have bumping along resistance sideways, possibly breaking through and bumping along resistance sideways more. I'm advised to be very cautious in early May. Multiple false tops or bottoms, or some sort of tricky chart behavior that very likely would make somebody do the wrong thing. It has to do with a key support level on a 1 year chart scale minimum, maybe a multi-year scale. And a notable trade opportunity around the May high. We decline out of the May high pretty notably, increasing with momentum moving forward in time. The May low forms when we have a decline to and through support to meet another support. We bounce along that support sideways and then break down through multiple supports. And then in the later part of May, we either have a merger or an acquisition of some kind, or there's a prominent move higher followed by a full retracement back down, prominent on a 1 year chart scale. In June, we have a period of volatility and a sharp drop that stands out in that period of volatility. There's an important resistance level highlighted in June on a 1 year chart scale, and we'll kind of like flatten out around that. And behavior around the June low, we have a period of sideways rotation and a sharp drop that stands out in that period of sideways rotation. We'll very likely revisit an important support level on a 1 year chart scale that we recently met once before. Probably support that we saw, it could be the support that we saw around early May. In the later part of June, we have sideways rotation and then a big move higher followed by sideways rotation at a higher price level. And it looks like that move to the upside in June takes us into another prominent peak where we have sideways rotation in the early part of July. Guys, if you're interested in learning how to do an SO meta reading, there's people that are successfully doing this on their own, guys. You go to Shop, we have an ebook on sale right now for $33. It's the only book of its kind, guys. There's 4 other books in the niche, and none of them are even of this anywhere near the same caliber. None of them were written by somebody who used to work in the finance industry, as far as I can tell. So there's that, and then we've also got all sorts of merch things that I utilize for my own preparation for the predictions. All there in the shop, great way to support the channel. Much appreciation to everybody that does that. All right, so we have the sideways rotation, the trade opportunity there in early July. There's a key resistance level around the July high on a 1-year chart scale that we do a lot of price change into and out of that resistance, allowing for some trades in both directions, and I'll elaborate on that in the paid version. The July high forms when we have the halting of a bullish trend marked by a sharp decline through key support on a 1-year chart scale, and then there's this prominent move higher in late July followed by a full retracement. It looks like there's the full retracement might actually come in the, hard to say, there's another peak in August, right? We have like a failed attempt in the early part of August to break through key resistance, and then a decline through key support. So it's probably the same resistance from July, and we'll attempt to break through it again. We might break through it momentarily and stay above it briefly and then break back down through the same price level. The August and September lows, I'm getting the sense that they're probably sharing a low. Yeah, they're sharing a low. So there's a low on the cusp of August, September. It'll be important trough on a 1-year chart scale. The low will form when we have 3 pokes through a key resistance level followed by a decline off at the 3rd poke down to reach the low. And in the early part of September, we have an important price level on a multi-year scale that'll be highlighted. A prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale for the September high, and we sell off from that pretty notably. The later part of September, we have a rally offering opportunity to trade, and I'll talk about that in more detail in the paid version, with a prominent peak towards the end of the month of September or on the cusp of September, October. In early October, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line. It ends with a fast sudden move higher, and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. And there's an important cross-reading congruency I'm going to talk about in the paid version here around the October high, where we have a cash out opportunity, and then a decline off of the October high in the later part of October, again offering opportunity. That decline takes us into November, and then there's an unexpected move to the upside off of the October low. And it's important to point out another cross-reading congruency. I'll talk about what that means in the paid version. With the decline out of the trough, if I not to chase a rally into a peak in the later part of October, and then there's a decline into early November. Decline ends with a notable reversal at the November low, followed by a fast sudden move higher. So we establish support, and then there's a fast sudden move higher in the later part of November. A peak in the mid to late part of November. There's a brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline through key support levels. And a trough around the cusp of November, December. We successfully establish support out of resistance in the earlier part of December, and that's on the scale of a 1-year chart. The December high forms when we have a period of sideways rotation out of the early part of December, and then it ends with a fast sudden move higher around the 3rd week, taking us to a prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale, and then there's price swings in the later part of December. Looks like by the time we're entering into early January, we probably have a notable decline to multiple support levels, and there's a lower low or the same low, lower low than the 2024 lows, or a lower low in 2025, one of the two. But as far as the highest highs and the lowest lows for the year, I think we probably have a highest high thus far we have a lowest low thus far around January, February, but we probably also have a highest high thus far there, and then we get into a higher one in April. Probably the same lowest low in April as well. And then it looks like we may break out to a higher one in July, August. Either that or it's the same high, but by the time we get into the October highs, that's where the highest high for the year is going to be. And we might revisit that highest high in December. Not so sure about that. That's Baba for 2024. In the paid version right now, I'm going to get into the best trades that we see for the year, where they are as far as timing, what to look for as far as chart behavior for entry and exit into those trades. We average roughly 98% average accuracy, guys. Nobody has this information but us, not on this scale and this level of detail. I just want to point out to everybody how you can get a 1-year reading. We're running roughly a 98% average accuracy. You go to our website, tarotfortraders.com, hover over our services, click on SO Meta Posts. Guys, so what you get with the paid version, basically you get the timing of the best trades that we see, and also the type of chart behavior to look for as far as entry and exit into those trades. We look at any cross-reading congruencies that may be apparent there or present there in the reading as well, because those will help to give us an idea of where we are in the greater chart kind of scale. We talk about trades from a multi-year standpoint as well, and it's super valuable information, guys. Our 2023 readings, for the most part, we ran roughly a 98% average accuracy, predicting highs and lows to the week. So with that said, these are super underpriced. You won't find this information anywhere else. You go to our services, SO Meta Posts, scroll down to 1-year report, click here to order, specify the year you're interested in, and then put the crypto or ticker symbol. If it's crypto, please specify crypto. Add to cart. Really great way to support the channel. Much appreciation to everybody that does that. Again, you won't find this information anywhere else. That's the paid. That's the public version of Baba 2024. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. Make sure to follow that rule of karma. Without you, blessed 3% of souls following through on the rule of karma, we wouldn't be able to put this content out. We just wouldn't. So blessings to you. You're a huge part of this what goes on here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned if you got the paid version.